Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I have a fun list of books for you. I'm going to tell you about some books that I am really excited that are coming out the second half of 2021. So July 2021 through December 2021, all the books that I'm really anticipating. This is definitely not an exhaustive list. These are the ones I personally am interested in. Hopefully there's some books here you haven't heard of before and you can add to your TBR. But I am going to try to do the best I can with this video because I want to be able to show you an image for every single one. And since I don't edit my videos, I have to pull up an image on my Kindle. So I'll try to be as quick as I can pulling up each book. And I also have my trusty notes here. I'm not going to go into a long explanation for each one just so this isn't a super long video. I have almost like little teaser trailer kind of snippets of what each book is about. So I've written down like 1 to maybe 2 sentences of what a book's about to help jog my memory and just to give you a tiny little snippet of what this book is about. I've got 22 books here. Hopefully I have all the release dates right. I may or may not. Sometimes Goodreads has a tendency to tell me about UK release dates and I get those mixed up with the US release dates. So hopefully none of these change, none of these are held back or anything. But definitely if there's one you're really interested in, keep an eye on it, add it to Goodreads and see if you can find out to make sure that it's going to release on time. But let's go ahead and start with the books I'm excited that are coming out this month in July. The first one is the Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix writes adult horror books, and I have read 2 of them so far, and there's another one I have on my list to read. But this one is the newest one, and if you haven't heard of the concept of final girl before, it's the concept like say you watched a horror movie and everybody else dies except for one person. Most of the time it seems like that one person ends up as being a girl, and that's the whole concept, is the fact that this is a group of girls that come together to meet together to support each other, that all have been final girls in horrible situations like serial killer situations or things like that. So it's all about the survivor group of girls that fight back. I think one of them goes missing or gets killed, and they realize that someone is targeting specifically this group of final girls. They've all been through this before in a certain way, and so they all kind of decide to fight back and not become victims. So I think this sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure it's going to be dark, deadly, and dangerous, and Grady Hendrix does not hold back with the horror, so I'm excited to read this one sometime in the future. That one comes out on the 13th, so it should already be out. The next one is a cover that I think looks really cool. It just captures your attention immediately, if I can find it. I've got like tiny thumbnails here. Here we go. The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. That cover, I mean, just like his eyes, like he just looks absolutely freaked out, and it sucks me in. Little snippet for this one: teenage boy can see ghosts and fights a vengeful spirit. So it's a YA book. I believe it's set in high school, and yeah, he's able to see ghosts and ends up having a vengeful ghost that ends up being in his sights. So it sounds like it's going to be fun. I love that kind of storyline. I love paranormal elements. There's a lot of books in this list I've got here that have paranormal elements to it. This one also comes out on the 13th, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun because who doesn't like a vengeful spirit in high school? It's good times, right? All right, so this next one I'm really excited about because I really loved this author's work. I think it was their premiere book. This one is Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. Erin A. Craig wrote A House of Salt and Sorrows last year or the year before. I think it came out in 2019. I absolutely loved it. It was a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. This one, to me, the synopsis seems a little bit more vague. I wrote, isolated small town faces mystical monsters in the woods. And I love small town settings, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it comes out on the 27th of July. Hopefully I have that date right. Like I said, sometimes Goodreads tells me the wrong date, and they'll tell me something where it comes out in a different country. So hopefully this is the right one. But I'm really excited about this one. I'm hoping I love it just as much, and I'm hoping it has some spooky elements in there because I love me some spooky elements. Okay, so those are the only ones that I had in July that I was really anticipating. I have several in August, so I'm excited to tell you all about these. Okay, this one, the name of this one just sounds perfectly disturbing, and I'm really excited about it. I'm trying to see if I can find the cover for it. It's a very distinctive cover. There it is. It's called The Perfect Place to Die by Bryce Moore. It's pretty creepy looking, isn't it? I'm really excited about this one because It sounds like it's Stalking Jack the Ripper meets Devil in the White City. That's all I gotta say. If you haven't read Devil in the White City by Erik Larson, it follows, I can't remember the name of the serial killer, but it's the guy during the Chicago World's Fair, and he built basically like a murder hotel. He built it with the intention of murdering people. And in this story, we're following this girl whose sister goes missing in Chicago, and she's pretty positive she went missing in that hotel, and so she goes there to see if she can find out what happened to her sister. So it involves all that. So yes, it sounds like murder mystery type thing. So kind of Stalking Jack the Ripper by Karen Maniscalco meets Devil in the White City. So I am so pumped about this. I think this is gonna be so good, and it comes out on August the 3rd. So I'm so excited about it. All right, the next one, if I'm remembering right, I believe is yes, this one's a middle grade. This is The Plentiful Darkness by Heather Kassner. Beautiful cover. I love a paranormal style middle grade. Those just make me so happy. An orphan girl chases a thieving boy into a magician's land of starless, moonless gloom where other children have gone missing. So I think it's going to have some nice magical aspects to it. It's going to have some nice mystery aspects to it. Some like kids have gone missing, so trying to figure out what's happening to them. And this one comes out also on August the 3rd. So I think this one's going to be really, really cool. And I just love that artwork. It is beautiful. My goodness. Middle grade artwork always just has the most beautiful covers. And I love it. Speaking of middle grade, I've got another one for you. Oh, this one I have to zoom in a little bit just to make it fill up the screen. And that is Dark Waters by Katherine Arden. This is going to be the third book in the Small Spaces series. Is that the name of this? It's a follow-up to Small Spaces and Dead Voices, which is a middle grade series about these three friends, these three kids, and they kind of been fighting against this malevolent, I guess, entity or spirit called the Smiling Man. The first one takes place during a school field trip, and they go to a farm and all these like scarecrows come to life. It's really creepy. It is perfect for the fall. So good, and a really quick read. Second one takes place during a snowstorm. They go to kind of like a vacation to go ski in the mountains, and there ends up being a huge snowstorm and they're snowed in without power, and then it ends up getting really spooky. I think the hotel is haunted. This one, I don't really know a whole lot about it, except I think they go on a boating trip, and then there's something about maybe a creature in the water. Maybe, I don't know. It's supposed to be the same kids and kind of their adventures with the paranormal. So I'm excited to read this one. I've really been enjoying this series, and it's nice and spooky, which I like to see. I love it when it's nice and spooky. That one comes out also on the 3rd. I've got one more here that is also on the 3rd too. This one I think is a YA. The Dark Way Down by Chelsea Ichaso. I apologize if I'm butchering that last name horribly. I have no idea how to pronounce that. This is a psychological thriller. Can a girl discover the twisted truth behind her sister's hiking accident? So I think her sister goes on a hike, and I think she ends up falling off a cliff, or something happens to her where she dies. But the sister doesn't think it was an accident. She thinks something nefarious happened, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her sister. This one also comes out on the 3rd. So a nice thriller, nice and woodsy. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, in a psychological thriller way. I think it'll be a good time. And I love the cover. I don't know. It just looks really, really cool. All right, the next one, I believe, is another, I can't remember if this was a middle grade or a YA, but it is called Ghost Girl, and I gotta find the cover. Give me a quick sec. Let's see. Aha, there it is. I'm looking through 22 little thumbnails. It's hard to kind of find them sometimes. This is Ghost Girl by Malinenko. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a middle grade debut, an empowering and a triumphant ghost story. Again, it's about another kid who is able to see ghosts, and I think there's a malevolent spirit, and other people don't really believe her, and then she ends up making some unlikely friends who help her stop a malevolent ghost. So I think that's like a trope I love. I just love the stories about kids who can see ghosts, and then the adults don't believe them, and then they have to like fight back, and I mean, my goodness. I've got a type, I guess. This one comes out on August the 10th. All right, let's find the next one. I hope these are ones you all haven't heard of before. I'm hoping to kind of come up with some that maybe haven't been blasted on BookTube as much. All right, this cover is gorgeous. It's called Mark of the Wicked by Georgia Bowers. This is a young adult novel. It's about a young witch who tries to unravel the mystery of who is framing her for dark magic. So I'm assuming this is a world where, there's certain type of magic you're supposed to practice, and if you do something that's considered dark magic, then that's bad, and someone's framing her for it. This comes out on the 10th as well. So I think this is going to be great. I've been trying to get into more and more books that maybe have some witch storylines, and this one just sounds really fascinating to me, and then the cover just really sucks me in. I'm definitely very much a cover buyer kind of person. Like, a cover can suck me in. All right. This is one I hope is really good. I know there have been so many Beauty and the Beast retellings lately. I know that. This is another one, but it's a gender bent one, and it's called Curses by Lish McBride. Like I said, gender bent, so the girl is the one who is the beast. I just have gender swapped Beauty and the Beast retelling. It sounds like a good time. I can't remember much more of the description other than that. I just remember that the description grabbed me enough. I liked the idea of just sort of like this gender swapped story about this girl who turns into a monster. I think it's going to be interesting and kind of a fun retelling. I hope it is anyways. And that one comes out on August the 20th. So if you're looking for another Beauty and the Beast retelling, I know there's so many of them, but if you're looking for another one, then maybe try that one out. Okay, this one, again, my goodness, these covers are getting me. It is called Bad Witch Burning by Jessica Lewis. First of all, just the name of it and the cover looks like complete fall autumnal October vibes. I mean, that just screams October vibes right there. I have a witchy story full of black girl magic as one girl's dark ability to summon the dead offers her a chance at a new life while revealing to her an even darker future. I think this sounds really, really cool about this girl who's a witch, but she finds out she basically can do necromancy. She can bring things back from the dead, which I think is kind of frowned upon. And I think it's going to be cool. Again, it sounds like fantastic Halloween October vibes. Comes out on August the 24th. This next one sounds like a mashup of a contemporary possible romance, but also paranormal. I don't know. I think it sounds one that sounds unique enough that I think I might really like it, because I'm not a huge contemporary reader, but it's called Vampires, Hearts, and Other Dead Things. I apologize. I think the lighting is not working with this very well, but it's by Margie Fuston, I think. A teen girl takes a trip to New Orleans with her best friend to find a vampire to save her dying father. That sounds really cool. The cover makes it look very contemporary. Again, I apologize. I wonder if I zoom in more. Maybe you can see it slightly better. I think it's because it's just such a light color over here that the lights are messing with it. But it just sounds like a really interesting contemporary story. I've been really enjoying reading books that are set in New Orleans. I've never personally been there, but I know there's a lot of kind of spooky and ghosty type of history there. There is some really, really incredible cemeteries there and that kind of thing. And I love this concept of traveling, like her father's dying and she's going to see if she can find a vampire to help save her dying father. That just sounds so different to me. I don't know. I haven't heard of anything like it before anyways. And that comes out on August 24th. So I think that's going to be really an interesting mashup of things that I love, but it being maybe contemporary and maybe romancy. I don't know if there's a romance involved or anything, but it just sounds really interesting. All right, let's move on to September, shall we? So this one, if you have heard of Kendare Blake before, she wrote the Three Dark Crowns series that I really enjoyed. Also the, I can't remember. She wrote like this paranormal duology, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was like of this like creepy bloody ghost on the front of it. I really liked it a lot, honestly. But her new one is called All These Bodies, again by Kendare Blake. It's about 16 bloodless bodies, 2 teenagers, 1 impossible explanation. So it sounds like it could be a vampire thing, or like maybe it's a murder that's made to look like vampires, but it's not. I don't know. It just sounds very like spooky, mysterious, maybe thrillery. I'm all about the mystery, and it sounds like fun. It comes out on September the 16th. All right, moving on. This is one you probably have heard of. This is one that's probably come up quite a bit in anticipated releases. Gotta have a few in here that maybe sound a little familiar. This is Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. If you haven't heard of T.J. Klune before, he's the person that wrote The House on the Cerulean Sea. If you haven't heard of that one, where have you been? That one has been everywhere, and I'm one of the people as well who really, really loved it. I adored it, to be honest, and I'm really excited about this next book. It's not the next book as in like a part of a series or anything. It's just another standalone, and the description for this one is a ghost who refuses to cross over and the ferryman he falls in love with. So I think that sounds really fun. I guess it sounds like, I think it's about this house and like the ferryman's there, and the ferryman helps lead ghosts to the afterlife, but there's a ghost that doesn't want to leave. And I think it sounds like a good time. Maybe some humor involved. I don't know, just like kind of hemming and hawing and not wanting to go to the afterlife. That comes out on September the 21st. Okay, I've got 4 books in a row that all come out on the 28th of September. So let's get into it. The first one is a next in a series, and it is called A Tale of Sorcery by Chris Colfer. This is the 3rd book in the Tale of Magic series. I don't know how many are going to be in the series, but it is basically a prequel series that takes place before the Land of Story series that he wrote, which is 6 or 7 books long. It's a great middle grade series, a giant mashup of a bunch of different fairy tales. This one focuses a lot on some characters who are adults and kind of like the main storyline of Land of Stories, and this kind of pulls us back into the past to learn kind of the origins of those people. With this one, I didn't write down a description for it, just that I know that it's the 3rd book. I don't know specifically what this one's about, and I don't really want to say because spoilers, since it's the 3rd book in a series, but I highly, highly recommend this series. I would say you don't have to have read The Land of Stories to read this particular series. It takes place before, but I think you could easily read this without reading Land of Stories, but they're all fantastic. So if you like big fairy tale mashups of all your favorite classic fairy tales, then I highly recommend it. Chris Colfer's writing is fast-paced and really, really fun, so I really like it a lot. Okay, this one I squealed when I saw that this was coming out. This is A Tale of Sleepy Hollow, Horseman by Christina Henry. This is like feeding my Halloween loving heart. Oh my goodness. I love Headless Horseman. I love that story so much. I grew up watching like the Headless Horseman cartoon that has Bill Crosby. Is that the right name? Bill Crosby, who does kind of the main voice of Ichabod, and I just, oh my goodness, you guys, I love this story. So Christina Henry, she writes a lot of retellings. She's written some Alice in Wonderland retellings. She wrote a P.T. Barnum retelling about his mermaid exhibit. She did a retelling of Peter Pan, which I loved. It's one of my favorite retellings ever. And the idea that she's writing a retelling of the Headless Horseman story, I'm just like, yes, I'm just so excited. It's comes out on September 28th as well. And my goodness, you guys, oh, it's going to be so good for October and spooky season. I can't. I'm so excited. Okay, moving on. This one might be a little out of my normal comfort zone, possibly. But this is kind of a spin-off of a series that I actually pretty much enjoyed, which was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is her new one, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This I don't think is specifically overly linked to her Caraval trilogy, but it follows one of the characters from that trilogy, and I believe it takes place before, in the timeline, it takes place before the original book she wrote. I wrote down, love, curses, and the lengths people will go for a happily ever after. So I think it might be a little romancy, might feel like a classic fairy tale, maybe like Cinderella-ish, or I don't know. I think it's going to be really fun. Probably very angsty. Caraval was pretty angsty. It's a YA series, so this may have some angst to it, but I'm interested to see what she does with it, because I did enjoy Caraval. I thought it was a lot of fun and an interesting concept. So I'm excited to see what she does with this and where this goes and just what else she writes. So I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. Again, September the 28th. All right, I got one more for September the 28th. Now this is the one I'm slightly embarrassed about, because I put this book originally on my July TBR. This is where I'm talking where Goodreads sometimes tells me the wrong date. I thought this book came out in July. It comes out in September. the end of September. And that is The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. This is the second book in the Scholomance series. This is basically a dark Hogwarts, pretty much. Very dark and deadly magic school. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's kind of hard to explain, to be honest. But again, I thought this came out in July. I think it comes out in July, maybe in the UK or something. Or maybe they changed the date. I don't know. But I put it on my July TBR. And I kept trying to look for it on my library's catalog and couldn't find it. It's like, why aren't they getting this? And then I realized, oh, it's because it comes out in September. So I felt kind of silly. But anyway, September 28th, there's another good one. Okay, we only have a few books left. I've got 2 in October and 2 in November that I am excited about. So let's get to those. Okay, this one I believe is another retelling. I think it's a novella and it comes out on October the 5th. It's called A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, which sounds like a lot of fun. I feel like I haven't read very many Sleeping Beauty retellings. I feel like I've read some Cinderella, some Beauty and the Beast, but not a whole lot of Sleeping Beauty. So I'm interested to see what this one's about. I'm also interested because I'm pretty positive I remember that it's a novella, which I think is really interesting too. I always get interested to see what a story is going to be like in a condensed form. So I'm interested to see what it's going to be like. I don't know anything else about it other than the fact that it comes out on October 5th. So sounds like a good time. All right. This cover for this next book is so creepy. It is unbelievably creepy. So the cover pulled me in, and then I read the synopsis and I was like, yes, please. It is called Nothing But Blackened Teeth by, let me look at Cassandra Khaw, I think is how you pronounce it. Look at that. That is nightmare inducing. That is freaking creepy. It says creepy haunted house tale steeped in Japanese folklore. I love me a haunted house. That's my vibe. So this looks like peak creepo and I am all for it. And this comes out on October the 19th. So let this meet you in your nightmares. You're welcome. Okay, 2 more books here, both in November. One is one I have pre-ordered because I was so excited about it when I saw this was coming out. And that is Gilded by Marissa Meyer. Marissa Meyer wrote The Lunar Chronicles, which is a mashup sci-fi retelling of several different classic fairy tales. She also wrote Heartless, which is a origin story for the Queen of Hearts, which was absolutely fantastic. She pulled so much from the original Alice in Wonderland stories. It was so good. She also wrote the Renegades series as well, which is a superhero thing. But this is a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. I believe it's a standalone, and I am so for it. I love her retelling so much, and I cannot wait to see what she does with Rumpelstiltskin. I think it's going to be really, really cool. So, I'm so excited about this one. I'm hoping it's amazing as I think it's going to be, but I think it's going to be so fun. So this one comes out on November the 2nd. All right, one more for you. This is a final book in a series. And the last book, the second book, left on such a massive cliffhanger that I'm dying inside. I need to know what happened. And that's Aurora's End by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the third and final book in the, what's the name of the series? Aurora Cycle. I always forget the name of the series, but they write it sideways on the covers. It's the Aurora Cycle. This is a very fast-paced sci-fi YA series that I love. I can't really say much about the third book because of spoilers, but I love it. It's this misfit crew who have been thrown together, and we get to hear every single one of their perspectives. So there's multiple perspectives in this book, and there's just witty, funny, fast-paced, and of course they have to save the universe because that seems like it'll always be what happens in these kind of books, right? So I am so excited. I love the cover. This is Finn. If you haven't read the series, this is Finn, and he's one of my favorite characters. He is hilarious, and I adore him. And yes, I am very excited to see what happens. I'll be sad to see it end, I think, because I have fallen in love with these characters, but I cannot wait to see what happens. This one comes out on November the 9th. Whew, okay, that was a lot of books. That's a lot. So if you're still here, thank you. Put a book emoji down there, or a stack of book emoji down there if you've made it this far, because I applaud you if you have. Okay, 2 things. Let me know down below, other than the stack emoji, let me know down below, first of all, if any of these caught your attention and you've added them to your TBR now after hearing about them. I'd be really curious to hear. Also, let me know if you want a buddy read any of those. I would be very happy to do that. Also, let me know down below too if there are other books that I did mention that you're excited about coming out in the second half of the year, because this is definitely not an exhaustive list. There are so many other like fantasy, sci-fi books, romance books, things like that that people are really excited about. They're maybe not my cup of tea, but I haven't mentioned here. But just let me know down below, and like the other people that are viewing and watching, just to say, hey, these books are coming out this year too that I'm really excited about, and you may have not heard of them. So just kind of let's make a list down below. Let's have some fun and have a little book community and talk about the books we're excited about reading that are coming out in the rest of this year. All right, on this side of the video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you can click on my logo and subscribe. I would love to have you here. And this side of the video is a suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one of my videos right now. But thank you so much for watching. You rock. And don't forget to keep reading. Bye.